Adam Stewart, head physical therapist at Ohio State University for the football team.
Adam, the day after the Michigan game this year, you were put in charge of maybe the I don't know, most famous, the most questioned about athlete in the state of Ohio, J.T. Barrett, to bring him back from the knee surgery he had right after that game. And just initially, what were your thoughts?
The first thought was, how are we going to make this happen? And we knew the odds were that he was going to need some sort of surgical procedure. And when we found out the results of that, it was, how can we safely try to get this guy to play in a game? And is it even possible? And that was really step one in kind of designing the plan that would get him to play in that Big Ten championship game.
You were with him from like 6 or 7 in the morning until midnight, 6 days in a row, including one night when he slept on you and your wife's couch at your home in Grandview. Did that just come secondhand as far as you're concerned, the dedication of this job and getting him back?
I'll say it's a first that I've ever had that happen, but with who it was and everything he's given this program, it wasn't something that I had a choice. It was something that felt right and was one of the first thoughts that went through my head when I thought of what's it going to take to try and make this happen. Calling my wife on the way back from the Team Up North game was one of the first steps of, hey, this might be what has to happen to give this guy a shot. And it was just the only thing I could think of is it's what he deserved, and it's what J.T. Barrett, for everything he's given us, it's what I could give to him.
Talk to me about the moment on Friday morning before you guys headed to Indianapolis for the championship game. I think it was like 8 in the morning, and you and Coach Ryan Day and who else was out there on the field for a little?
It was myself, Sean Barnhouse, our head athletic trainer, Coach Mick Marotti, and Ryan Day were the 4 out there.
And this was the moment of truth to a certain extent, correct? I mean, could JT do what he needed to do to play in the game?
Right, so it was the first time he was going to run since the surgery, and obviously using his legs is a big part of his game. So it was kind of the moment we'd been waiting for all week. He had thrown, he had done some of the passing drills, he had done 7-on-7, but it was about, could he do what he needed to do with his legs to be effective in that game and really be as close to 100% as possible. So we went out there and he went through an entire package of what he would have to do in a game. He went through all of his different dropbacks, all the different types of run plays, run pass options that we run through, and then also just how to cut on a defender in the open field. We had someone out there simulating defenders to see if he could react and trust that leg enough to cut off of it without any hesitation.
And when he passed that test, what was the feeling like? I mean,
there were some very significant high fives. There were some hugs, and I think that it was at that point, you know, that whole week it was kind of a what's going to happen, and at that point with how good he felt, he knew it was going to happen, and so did we at that point. So it was a very, very happy moment, and then it turned to all business about the game from there out, because now we knew, hey, this is your quarterback for Saturday.
In a nutshell, like I said a while ago, you were with him from 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning till midnight. It was 2 willing accomplices there.
Mm-hmm.
What just stood out to you from your perspective about his resolve to play in this game, and how did you balance his resolve with results, meaning you still had to stay on the beam as far as watching for swelling, etc.? How did you balance?
So the big thing with JT's resolve is it's obviously a positive, but we wanted to make sure that it wasn't also turned into a negative. And what I mean by that is, you know, not being open and honest with how he felt, you know, trying to push something that wasn't healthy and wasn't ready to go. And through communication with him and the trust that he had in me, I had in him, we developed a good professional relationship that I knew he'd be honest with me.
Yeah.
And throughout the week, as he felt better, you know, we were constantly communicating and progressing him. And then on top of that, you start to go through the things a quarterback has to do. So now that he feels good, you get him up moving around and doing what a quarterback's supposed to do, now the confidence starts to roll in on top of that, and by the end of the week you had again a whole quarterback mentally and physically.
Now people are going to expect this, you know. You're one of these guys, you understand it from the bottom up. Everybody's different, right, and stuff. But where does this one rank? At least you're 30 years old now. You worked with the New England Patriots for a while, early in your career and stuff. But where does this rank on your own little, I don't know, checklist as far as like accomplishments?
Yeah, one of a kind. And I've told several other people that have asked, I could work in this profession for 40 more years and maybe never see that again. Just the combination of the kid, the work he put in, the genetics that go into something like that, the fantastic surgeon we have, our medical staff here between the athletic trainers and myself. It was the perfect storm to make it happen, and I could go the rest of my career maybe never see that again. So I would say one of a kind from that aspect.